Hey YouTube, it's Valerie with Money Mindset Coach. I talk about frugality, saving money, spending money, and how to live a great life on less because money isn't everything. Today I'm going to talk about change. And I know what my audience is. I know that 97% of my audience is 50 and over, 97% women. So basically, I usually talk to women most of the time, but me being 66, like I am, I've had to deal with a lot of change. And change is what I'm talking about in this video. Basically, the definition of change is the act or instance of making or becoming different. I don't think any of us can avoid change. There can be big changes in our life. I mean, back when I got married in the 80s, the actual act of getting married is a huge change. Huge. You are putting your life with somebody else, and where you live, what you do, having children. Getting married literally changes your life. It won't be the same after you get married. And then in a situation like mine, where I was married for 30 years, that is also major change. That was not easy. That was not easy. I found myself not talking every day to this person who I had talked to every day for 30 years of my life. That was really hard for me. Really, really hard in the beginning when I was adjusting, because that's the word. When things change, you adjust, you adapt, you find your resilience, because you have to come back from a major change in your life. Because when you get married, you're expecting to spend the rest of your life with this person. The wedding vows say, till death do us part. They cover a lot of things: better for worse, richer for poorer, in sickness and in health. Covers a lot. And so, especially the better for worse, there's no example of that. Nobody knows what the example for better or for worse. The better's okay, because we know better is good, but we know worse is not good. We don't know what that is. That can cover a lot right there. But anyway, I think change really, really, and I mean, it did this for me. I found a personal growth in getting divorced, actually, because I have 3 sons, and it wasn't within the first year or so. They were like, wow, Mom has a lot of opinions. She has a lot to say. I was married to a man who was IQ genius, very smart man. He ended up being a computer programmer. He's a smart guy, definitely smart. Was I the same level of IQ as him? No. A lot of times when somebody has this really genius IQ, they don't have common sense. So to me, the two of us together, I thought worked really well, because he had the smarts But I had the common sense to say, no, I don't think it's a good idea that we do that. I had the common sense. And I actually worked for a lady, gosh, back early in my marriage. And she said to me, because she had a grandson who was just kind of driving her a little crazy. And she kept telling him, Michael, common sense will get you through this life. And really it does. Really it does. There are people who have done amazing things, invested their money with never making six figures. It's not like you have to make a boatload of money to end up with a lot of money at the end of your life. That's really not true. You don't have to do that. There can be people who make $300,000 a year and they spend $300,000 a year. And, yeah, you'll have a big house, you'll have a nice car and a lot of clothes in your closet and a lot of kitchen appliances or whatever, but fancy furniture maybe, fancy vacations. But are you going to have anything else? Are you going to have money to live on? I mean, you can't. I've said this before in other videos, but you cannot work forever. You really can't. And people are living longer now. They really are. But anyway, my kids noticed that there was a personal growth in me when all of a sudden I was on my own again. You're kind of faced with the fact that you have to move forward in your life, because how it's been, it isn't like that anymore. So you have to move forward. You have to find the new path that you're on. And with me, I don't know, there was a point in time where I was like, what am I going to do? This has been my life for 30 years. What am I going to do? And all of a sudden, that saying about you pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's what I did. I thought, okay, what am I going to do now? What is my life going to look like? And I got the house in the divorce. I sold the house. Came away with a good amount of money. I had enough to pay any debt that I had, which wasn't much, but I had the money to pay the debt that I had, plus put 3 to 6 months living expenses aside, and on top of that, 20% to put down on this house that I'm in right now. And I got to tell you, at first I was going to rent. But I started looking at rent. I started looking at apartments, and they were wanting half the square footage that I had in my house for the same amount of money. And I started looking around, and I thought, no, I can do better than this. Now, the real estate market is different than what it was 5 years ago. It's gone through some crazy stuff. But back in 2019, it was a good time to buy. It was a low interest rate. I don't intend to ever move out of this house. The only way the only way that I'm going to leave this house is feet first. So if that tells you anything. But it can, change can help people learn more about themselves. What I did after my divorce, I kind of amazed myself. I amazed myself at what I was able to do. This house is probably about 100 miles from my old house, the house I sold. So I moved to another state. I moved into another house. I have had a couple jobs, different jobs since I've lived here. I didn't have my husband to depend on. I had to depend on me. And I mean, I have been in a long-term relationship with a wonderful man who helps me in a lot of ways, and he's there for me in ways when I need him. We have not lived together. We have not gotten married. And, that's just the way it is. It's not exactly how I saw my life. I didn't see myself never getting married again. I'll be honest about that. I liked marriage. I liked having a husband. I liked being a wife. I did. I truly did. And I kind of saw myself as getting married again someday. That's not happening right now. I don't know if it will. I think there's time for talking about that, but we will see. But what also happened when I moved to a new town, I know people that I would have never known if I hadn't moved here. New connections, new people to get to know. And I mean, I feel that way about everywhere that I've lived. I mean, I've lived in Chicago, Central Illinois, Dayton, Ohio, Houston, Texas, back to Central Illinois. Then I lived in Tulsa for 2 years. And then in 2002, moved to the St. Louis area. And now I live in rural central Missouri. I've lived a lot of places. And the thing is I know people from all the places that I've lived. And if I hadn't lived there, I would never have known those people. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing. I don't know if I could stay. I mean, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to stay here because at my age, I think that is the other thing. I think when you get older, it's harder to change. You don't want to change. When I first was a hairdresser for 10 years and I moved out when I was 19, that was big. That was big. I loved every minute of that. Not everybody has felt that way about when they move out, but I did. I was on my own. I had my job. I had my apartment. I had my car. I could go where I wanted and do what I wanted to do. And I positively loved it. But what I did back then, it was kind of silly. But I moved every year. I'd move into an apartment and I don't know, I get tired of that apartment and I was making more money. So I'd move to an apartment that cost more. Lifestyle creep. We all know what lifestyle creep is. And I did it. I was going to a store for clothes and stuff that was on the order of Walmart. And as I started making more money, I started going to the nicer stores because I thought, well, I'm making more money. I should be able to go to the nicer stores. So I did that. No, as of now, at my age, not moving. There is no way in the world. But back when I was in my 20s, I loved moving and changing and moving into a new place and putting everything away and deciding what I wanted to do with it. But I got to tell you, what I wish I had done, 2 things. Okay, in my 20s, I didn't get married until I was 27. And if I had to do it all over again, I would have saved my tips that I got working and invested them. That's what I would have done. I also would have not waited for a man to buy a house. I didn't even buy much in the way of furniture before I got married. Why? Why was I waiting for this man I was almost waiting for my life to begin. You know, part of it was I wanted to pick out my furniture with my husband. I didn't want it to just be me deciding all that stuff. I wanted somebody else to look at the furniture and decide, do it together. That was the thing. When I got married, I wanted to do everything together. And that was partly because I was 27 when I got married. I had had plenty of years to do it my own way. I wanted to share. I wanted to share a closet. I wanted to share everything. Now, I'm not so much that way. But back in my 20s when I got married, nowadays, a lot of them don't take their husband's last name. When I got married, next month it'll be 39 years ago, that would be very unusual to not take your husband's name. But I never knew any other way to do it. You know, that was just the way it was. That's what you did. That's what was tradition. You were a family now. So, of course, the husband and the wife, mother and the father, eventually, with kids, would all have the same last name. The only time that I ever saw people not have the same last name and kids not have the same last name is if they were like in second marriages where the one kid from the first marriage had their father's name, and then you get married, and then, you know, it's like that was when you saw different names within a family and not everybody having the same name. But if you were a nuclear family and you had children and you got married, you took your husband's name. And if I got married tomorrow, I would take my husband's name. You know, because right now I have my ex-husband's name. But I haven't wanted to go through what I have to go through to change my name back to my maiden name. Too much work. Especially if I was going to get married again, then I'd change my name again. I didn't really want to do that. So I am who I am, and I've had that last name for almost 39 years. You know, it is what it is. But getting back to change, I think a lot of change is good. You know, even the smallest thing of rearranging the furniture in your living room, that will make it feel like a new room. There's nothing wrong with that. I actually need that kind of change. You know, sometimes getting a new car, it'll give you that little bit of a lift of thinking, wow, I've got a new car. And that's a fun change. That's a fun change. But then all of a sudden, you have to pay for it. And after you've been driving it for 3 months, it's a used car, just like the car you had before. And are you liking the car? Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But it's a change. It has a change for a while, you know. But the smaller changes are the ones that I go for now. But when you go through a divorce like I did, it basically turns your life upside down. The other thing that can change your life is if there is sickness that comes into your family. You get sick. Your husband or your wife gets sick. You have a sick child that has something that's kind of serious. That changes your life forever. It kind of turns your life upside down and then changes it forever because the future becomes uncertain. And that's how I felt with my divorce. I felt like my future was very uncertain. And that was very unsettling to me. I didn't know where I was going to go in life, and I was going to be going by myself. But I have to say now, I have my house, I have my job, I have my, I hate to say boyfriend. I feel too old to say boyfriend. Partner, long-term partner. 8 years we've been together, and that's been stability for me. I was in therapy for 3 years after my divorce, and that was one thing that I learned from my therapist. She said that I needed structure. I needed stability. I needed those things. And when you go through a divorce, you feel like the bottom has fallen out of your life, or the vision in my head that I always had when I was thinking about it was, you go into the fun house at those little carnivals in little towns, and you go into the fun house, and the floor is kind of moving this way and that way, and you're just trying to make it through to the next part of the fun house. And that's really how I felt when I went through my divorce. All of a sudden, the ground was like this, and it didn't feel stable. It didn't feel sturdy. It felt like I was going to fall. And I have to say, that was 2016. Yeah. So it's been, it's been quite a while. My ex-husband got married just under a year after we got divorced. And I don't have a hard time seeing her, talking to her. They actually even came to my house over the holidays. They'd never been here before, but they were here. And, I don't have anything against her. I really don't. It was very hard at first. Very hard. Seeing him with somebody else, even though I was with somebody else, it was just very strange. I don't wish divorce on anybody. Absolutely not. I think it's one of the hardest things that you can ever go through. And I'm just glad that I came out on the other side of it, and I'm happy. And I have grown as a person. And I think maybe, I don't know if I would have even done this YouTube channel. I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have. So that's my creativity, is this right here, is talking to all of you. And I'm just so thrilled that I'm able to do that. So, gosh, this one's long. I think I've said everything that I can say, but if there's any of you out there that have been divorced, or maybe you lost your husband or wife, probably husband, to, you're alone because your spouse died. I don't know, maybe you don't have to say anything, but maybe just put a heart or a thumbs up in the comments, just to say, hey, that's me. It happened to me. I got through it. because I think we can all get through this together. So maybe this is reaching somebody who just now is going through what I went through 8 years ago. I don't know. But that's all I have ever wanted to do with this channel, is to help people be a positive voice about anything that we happen to talk about. That's all I want. I just want to be a positive voice. I want somebody to come away from watching one of these videos feeling better or feeling understood. That's all I want. But I care about all of you. I thank you so much for any of the subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you have viewed my videos and you've come back, thank you so much. If you've commented, share it. I think we're all in this together, and I do believe YouTube is a wonderful, wonderful platform. Wonderful platform for all of us to help each other. I mean, 20 years ago, I don't even know when YouTube started, but before YouTube, would any of us have been here talking and doing a video or something? It was kind of unheard of. We wouldn't have done that. So anyway, I'm doing it now, and I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you so much. Like I say every time, use it up, wear it out, make it do without. Bye.